Hello everyone, I'm Laethas and welcome back to another What's for Sale video, this time going over the releases for December 2017. And real quick before we begin the video, I want to make some sort of corrections from last month's What's for Sale video. The first volume of Clear Card, Card Captor Sakura Clear Card was pushed back from last month to December 19th. And Unmagical Girl was pushed back to December the 26th. December the 26th. Those are the two updates that I am aware of. There could be others, but I do not know about them. And also, you are seeing Minesweeper gameplay in this video. Let me know if there's any specific type of gameplay you want to see, or just sort of anything in the background. Do you want anything in the background? I know it was suggested to use larger images for the covers, but I'm not necessarily able to do that. It really just depends on what is in the background. And if you guys don't want to see anything in the background, let me know and I can do that. Otherwise, let me know what you want to see. If you want to continue to see Minesweeper, then we can just continue to do that. But real quick, that's just all the updates. And this will also be going up on the Manga Collector subreddit. Link to that in the description of the video. It's just basically a place where people do manga hauls, just sort of in image format instead of in video format. Kind of cool to check out. And there's some really interesting stuff on there and some really neat people. So you can go check that out. I'll have a link to that in the description. I can't talk today. But yeah, we're just going to get into the video now. We're going to start off... Oh, almost forgot to mention. Sorry about all the updates. But do you guys want me to go in publisher order as I've been doing, or would you like me to go strictly chronological, as in like this Tuesday, then the next Tuesday, then the next Tuesday, the releases like that? Or do you want me to continue doing it sort of separated by publisher? Just let me know which one you'd rather see, but I'm going to be doing it by publisher in this video, and if you don't like that, let me know and I can change it to strictly chronological. But to start off with the manga, we are going to start off with Kodansha Comics. We have Say I Love You, the final volume, volume 18, coming out on the 19th, and that is an $11 volume. This is a fairly, not sure about popular, but it's got pretty high scores, and it's a pretty, I hear it's a pretty good shoujo. I don't know specifically exactly what it's about because I've not personally partaken in reading it, but it certainly sounds very interesting. Seems to be one of the better, more renowned shoujo, so if you are a shoujo fan, this seems like a series that you will enjoy, and it is wrapping up this month, so you don't really have to wait all that long. And next up, also coming out on the 19th, we have the Attack on Titan No Regrets Complete Color Edition, and this is a hardcover release for $30. It is just an all-in-one complete omnibus of the Attack on Titan No Regrets spin-offs, prequel, sequel, whatever thing. I know it's about Captain Levi. It's Attack on Titan stuff. There isn't really much else to say. But it is a hardcover and it is full color. So for those of you who are interested in that, that is coming out on the 19th. We also have Inuyashiki Volume 10, which is the final volume of Inuyashiki. That is by Hiroya Oku, who is the same creator as Gantz. And this series, as you can probably tell, is much, much shorter than Gantz. And I hear some pretty great things about it. I know Insidious Swede really likes the series. And it seems to have an interesting premise, and it's completing this month on the 19th, as I've said before, and these volumes are $13 a piece. And last up for Kodansha, we have Attack on Titan Junior High, and that is wrapping up. Again, this is just another Attack on Titan spin-off series. Not really much else to say. It's Attack on Titan Junior High. I know there was an anime adaptation of this, but from my understanding, it's just a comedy, sort of satire, maybe parody, more likely, or I believe it's more of a parody than a satire of Attack on Titan. And this is the final omnibus volume that is coming out. It is coming out on the 26th, and it is going to be $20. Yeah, more Attack on Titan stuff. that's it for Kodansha. Time to move on to 7 Seas. On the 5th, they are releasing both the To Love Ru and To Love Ru Darkness volumes. To Love Ru being 2-in-1 omnibuses, each for $20, and To Love Ru Darkness, those are going to be singles for $13 a piece. They're both coming out on the 5th, and they are both part of 7 Seas' new Ghost Ship imprint. And To Love Ru Darkness, I know, is a sequel to To Love Ru, however, they're coming out at the same time. To Love Ru is it's one of the more well-known ecchi harem series. More popular, I believe, as well. I know it has several anime adaptations, but yeah, both of those are coming out on the 5th. To Love Ru, the original, coming in 2-in-1 omnibuses, each for $20, and the Darkness sequel series is going to be in singles for $13 a volume, both coming out on the 5th. Next up, on the 5th, we have Dragnar Academy Volume 13, which is the final volume of Dragnar Academy. This is just another ecchi harem. I think it might also be an isekai series. But yeah, it's ending at its 13th volume. This is a $13 volume as well. So if you are interested in those types of series, this volume is there for you, and the series is complete at 13 volumes. And last up for 7 Seas, we have Dance in the Vampire Bund 2 Scarlet Order Complete Omnibus, which is just an all-in-one omnibus of the 4-volume Dance in the Vampire Bund 2 Scarlet Order series. I believe this will line up with your other Dance in the Vampire Bund omnibuses if you have those. So yeah, it'll be the same size, like height wise and width wise, not like girth, but width, if that makes any sense. But that volume is $25, and it is a 4-in-1 complete omnibus, and it is coming out on the 12th. And that, I believe, completes the Dance in the Vampire Bund series to completion, unless the author decides to make some more of the story, I guess. But that is it for the 7 Seas releases. Next up, by Vertical Comics, we have the Helvetica Standard Italic release, as opposed to the Helvetica Standard Bold release. I haven't been able to figure out what the main difference between those two are, but to my understanding, they're just volumes 1 and 2 of a series created by the same author that wrote Nichijou. These are in full color, and they are for Coma. Italic coming out on the 5th, and Bold has already come out, and the Italic volume is $17. Last up for Vertical Comics, they don't typically have a lot of stuff coming out, but the final Blame Master Edition Volume 6, is coming out on the 12th, and that is a $35 volume, which is quite expensive, especially considering that it is just a paperback release. So, you know, if you're a fan of Blame, you like Tsutomu Nihei stuff, this one, I believe, has even fewer or even less dialogue than his other works, which, if you know anything by Nihei, very little dialogue in his stories, and I believe Blame is almost entirely landscapes. Well, not necessarily landscapes, but very few or very little dialogue in this edition, and these master editions are quite large, and it's nice to have these series wrapping up in these master editions. I believe it also contains an extra story as well, apart from just Blame. I believe it was like a crossover between Blame and Knights of Sidonia, or Blame High School or something like that is also included in this volume, though I'm not entirely certain on that fact. But yeah, the Blame Master Editions are completing their run on the 12th of December this month, and they each cost $35. Moving on to the Viz Media releases, we have Astra Lost in Space, which is a new Shonen Jump title, coming out on the 5th for $10, which is the Viz Media standard price, which is quite cheap for manga, as cheap as it gets, pretty much. And I did a little bit of research on this series, and this seems like, if you're familiar with how, you know, so we have sort of Space Odyssey, Space Adventure type stuff, and Macross fashion, we have the group of students are teleported or transported, whatever, light years away from Earth, and yeah, they're not on Earth anymore. So it is. I'm not sure what direction it's going to take. Not sure if it's going to go full comedy or if it really is trying to be more of like a Lord of the Flies type route with more of a drama, horror-esque focus. But yeah, Astra Lost in Space, it seems to be quite interesting just from the read-up, and I feel it has a lot of potential, so it's definitely one I'm going to keep my eye on. Next up, also coming out on the 5th for $10 a volume, that is The Promised Neverland, another Shonen Jump title. I don't really feel I have to talk much about this series. It's pretty popular. You can probably find numerous videos put out by other creators talking about this series in particular. It's quite popular. I hear it's quite good, and so yeah, not much for me to say on that one, but yeah, I do hear it is quite good, and so it's one you should probably keep an eye on. Next up, on the 12th, we have the Splatoon manga coming out for $10 a volume. This is a manga adaptation of the game by Nintendo Splatoon. I've not played the game franchise, and I'm not entirely sure what the story is going to be about, but it is a manga based off of a video game, and so that can go several ways. It can go really well, or it can go really poorly, sort of depending on how things turn out. But for you fans of Splatoon, there is a manga coming out for the series on the 12th, released by Viz Media for $10 a volume. And last up, for Viz Media, we have the all-in-one omnibus hardcover of Shiver, which is a Junji Ito sort of collection of short stories that he wrote, coming out on the 19th, and that is going to be $23. It is quite a large hardcover, I believe, but yeah, it's just a collection of Junji Ito short stories, so if you're a fan of his other works, there is another work of his coming out on the 19th. It is in a nice hardcover omnibus, which is always nice to see. I do like hardcover volumes, and at $22 or $23, that is quite good. So yeah, we have that'll do it for the Viz Media releases. Moving on to Yen Press, who has an absolute ton of releases, so I'm going to try and get through these pretty quickly to avoid this video getting too long. We have Dragons Rioting Volume 9, which is the final volume of Dragons Rioting, coming out on the 12th, and that is a $13 volume, as with the rest of the series. And from my understanding, after reading sort of the synopsis, Dragons Rioting seems to be like an Infinite Stratus type series. This one is not based off of a light novel, this one is just a manga. So if you're a fan of series like Infinite Stratus, Trinity 7, you like those types of series, you might want to pick this up, because this seems to be sort of in that same vein as those. Next up, we have Goblin Slayer, coming out also on the 12th for $13 a volume. This is the first volume. This is a series based off of a light novel, and it is going to be in the isekai vein, or the born into a new world, reincarnated into a new world, transported to a new world type story. So if you like those, this seems to be, you know, in that same vein, you know, video game, heavy video game influence. So, you know, depending on who you are, you're either going to really enjoy this or not really care at all about it, but it's there. Next up, also on the 12th, we have How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend Volume 8, which is the final volume of that series, $13 per volume, and this is the manga adaptation of a light novel. The light novel is still ongoing, and I believe this had an anime adaptation as well, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But this seems to fall into the same vein as something like an Ore-emo, or those slice of life light novel series like an Eromanga Sensei, maybe, you know, kind of in that vein. So, you know, there are generally three types of light novels, and this falls into, appears to fall into one of those categories, but, yeah, if you are interested in those types of stories, This seems like something you would enjoy. That is completing on the 12th for $13 per volume. Next up, we have a new series, Magical Girl Raising Project. This is coming out on the 12th as well for $13 a volume. And this is based off of the light novel with the same name. And Magical Girl Raising Project seems to be a mix between Madoka Magica and Battle Royale. So I know there was an anime that came out last fall, I believe, based off of the light novel. This is the manga adaptation of the light novel. So if you've read the light novel, or that premise seems interesting to you, Madoka meets Battle Royale, then this is coming out on the 12th from Yen Press for $13 a volume. Next up, we have The Melancholy of Haruhi-chan, Volume 11, which is the final volume of that sort of 4-coma spin-off series of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. It is $13 a volume, coming out on the 12th, complete at 11 volumes. It is a 4-coma based around Haruhi Suzumiya, or The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. So it's a little bit more difficult to get a grasp on what this series is. But if you are a fan of Haruhi, you may want to check this out just because this is a 4-coma comedy series. So, you might enjoy it if you are a fan of the Haruhi sort of mythos universe, I guess, type thing. But coming out on the 12th as well, we have 1 Week Friends, which is coming out in oversized singles for $15 a volume. And this is about basically a girl who forgets all her recent memories after a week or so. So Memento style, she forgets everything. So this seems to be, another comedy series. Not sure if it's going to be more comedy focused or sort of romance drama focused, because it's about a guy trying to get to know her. Or I think it's the guy trying to get to know her. I may have read that wrong, and it may be the girl trying to get to know the guy. Can't remember. I believe it's the guy trying to get to know the girl. But yeah, that is a 4-coma comedy series. It had an anime come out a while ago, and it was licensed by Sentai Filmworks and released on Blu-ray, so you might already know more about this series than I do, but this is only a 7-volume manga series, and it is starting up on the 12th in those $15 oversized volumes by Yen Press. Next up, we have So I'm a Spider, So What?, which is also coming out on the 12th. Yen Press seems to like releasing things on the 12th of the month, apparently. But that is another $13 volume. This seems to be in the same vein as That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, another one of those isekai series. So your mileage is going to vary heavily, dependent on whether or not you like those or not, because this one is also based off of a light novel. Yen Press has been releasing a lot of these. You can usually fit... there are normally 3 categories of standard light novel things. There's the ones that are like SAO, and the ones that are like Infinite Stratus, and the ones that are like Ore no Imoto. And those tend to fall into... Those 3 categories are what a lot of them are going to be similar to. So if you're a fan of sort of their parent series, and by parent I mean what inspired all of this stuff, you might enjoy these ones. This one is going to be very similar to an SAO, other isekai series. So yeah, it's really going to depend on if you like those or not, if you're going to like this volume or not. But it is in that same vein. Next up, we have Sword Art Online Excalibur, which is a single-volume manga series coming out on the 12th as well for $13 volume, and I believe that this just covers the Excalibur arc of Sword Art Online, and that is it. I don't believe there's anything special going on with it. So if you're an SAO fan, there's another manga coming out for you. Also on the 12th, we have A Terrified Teacher at Ghoul School coming out on the coming out for $13 a volume. This is about a guy that is afraid of monsters, but he likes high school girls, and now he's teaching at a monster girl high school. Seems to be going at it from a comedy aspect, and yeah, that's really all there's to say about that. So it seems pretty standard, though it isn't very long yet, so there is room for it to grow and develop. Next up, coming out on the 19th for $13 volume, we have Angels of Death. This is a Josei series, which is very surprising to me, as I read that title and I looked at the cover art, and that is not what I imagined when I heard that it was a Josei title. But yeah, seems like a very interesting series. Not entirely sure where it's going to go, but it is coming out on the 19th for $13 volume. Seems pretty interesting. May check it out, but again, there isn't a whole lot out there on it just yet. And last up for Yen Press, we have Grainaliers coming out on the 19th as well for $13 a volume, and this is about people that sort of have like superpowers inside of them, I guess, but it's a very weird premise, and it's kind of strange, but very, very interesting new series. Not sure if it's going to be anything extraordinary or not. I'll probably have to wait until a few more volumes come out, hear a few more people's opinions on it, but that is starting up on the 19th for $13 a volume. And next up, just a few notable releases that are coming out next month. We have the 18th volume of Haikyuu coming out on the 5th, which is only in 4 days, since this video should be coming up on the 1st of December. We have the 9th volume of Yona of the Dawn, Food Wars Volume 21, Magi Volume 27. All of those are all of those are $10 a volume. Food Wars, Yona of the Dawn, and Haikyuu are coming out on the 5th, and Magi is coming out on the 12th. We have Tokyo Ghoul Re Volume 2 coming out on the 19th. That is a $13 volume. And we have the 23rd volume of Attack on Titan coming out on the 19th as well, and that is an $11 volume. So all those series, just know that they are coming out, or that's when that specific volume is coming out. I don't really have much else to say on those series, just they're very popular. There's nothing for me to say. Haikyuu, probably the most popular sports manga currently going on. Yona of the Dawn, probably the most popular shoujo. And Food Wars is Food Wars, Magi is Magi, Tokyo Ghoul is Tokyo Ghoul, and Attack on Titan is Attack on Titan. Next up, we're going to move into the special category, which we are coming out with the A Silent Voice complete box set coming out on the 19th. If it doesn't get pushed back, because it already got pushed back once. That is going to be a $77 volume, which is kind of disappointing because collecting the volumes individually is going to cost you $77. So, a little sad that Kodansha has yet to realize how you're supposed to price box sets. But it does come with a poster and a replica of Shoko's notebook, and I believe the box is either chipboard or cardboard. I don't know which, but it is the complete box set of A Silent Voice with a couple of bonus items. And we also have the Ghost in the Shell Deluxe hardcover box set coming out on the 19th as well. If it doesn't get pushed back, that is also released by Kodansha. And that is a box set of the hardcover editions of the Ghost in the Shell manga. That is an $80 box set. Again, same issue with the Silent Voice box set is that it's priced the same as buying the volumes individually, which is unfortunate, but it is all of the Ghost in the Shell hardcover volumes, which, from my understanding, those are some very high quality volumes, and this will complete the series for you, and it comes with a little bonus lithograph from Shiro Masamune. So it does have a bonus, and it is in a nice little box set for you. But that will do it for all of the manga. Now moving on to the light novels and just novels. We have the Saga of Tanya the Evil coming out on the 12th by Yen Press for $14 a volume. This is Yojo Senki. It had an anime come out, I believe, this year. So there isn't really much for me to say about this series. If you've seen the anime, you likely know what this is about. If you haven't seen the anime or haven't heard about it, I don't think it's gonna be something, it's not, if you already don't know about it, you're probably not going to be as interested in it, is my understanding of what the series is. But yeah, it's about a guy that is like a salaryman in Japan, I believe, and through turns of fate, he is reincarnated as like a evil little girl who, well, not necessarily little, her height's little, but she's older, and she is in the military, and that is my extent of knowledge on the series. So if you had already heard of it and you are interested in it, then you will probably enjoy this. If you had no idea this existed, I don't believe it is going to be something you are going to enjoy. However, you can always check out the anime to see for yourself. Also coming out on the 12th, we have the That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime light novel. This is, of course, the light novel that the manga is based off of, and it is in the standard Yen Press $14 price point for light novels. Not much to say about this. It's about a guy transported to another world, and he is born as a slime. And not really much else to say. That's kind of how it is. Not sure how the light novel will compare to the manga. Normally, when you go from a light novel to a manga or an anime, the manga or the anime take the best aspects of the original material, so I'm not sure if this is going to be very, very fantastic or not, or how it compares to the manga. But, yeah, the light novel for that is coming out. So if you like light novels and you like this manga series, you might want to pick this up. Coming out on the 19th by Vertical. This is, I believe, a hardcover for $21. It is S:(ES), and I haven't been able to find much information about this series. On Amazon, it says it's the Ring trilogy, so how accurate that is, I do not know. I haven't really been able to find very much information about this particular volume, but it is coming out on the 19th, so maybe if you want to dig around for some more information about it, you can go ahead and do that. But for me, I really do not know much about it, and there was no description when I checked Amazon for it. It was just listed, so can't really help you on this one, unfortunately. But it's coming out on the 19th by Vertical for $21, and I believe it is a hardcover volume. Also coming out on the 19th, we have Record of Laethas War, the Grey Witch Gold Edition, which is a $25 hardcover volume of the first Record of Laethas War volume, The Grey Witch. And there should be an image on screen, but this looks like a very, very nice, very high quality release put out by 7 Seas of one of the sort of earliest or famous franchises that are out there. If I didn't mention it already, it is a hardcover volume. And also, a little mix-up, if you are buying from a retailer, there was an error with some of the volumes. They were printed with pink or magenta ink as opposed to black ink, so if you are out there and you catch one of those, you might have yourself a collector's item. But yeah, it is a very, very old classic series, and it appears to be getting very high quality treatment from 7 Seas. But it is $25 and it is one volume, so it's a little bit pricey, but it is a classic, no less, and it is coming out on the 19th, so long as it doesn't get pushed back, because it already got pushed back once. But yeah, moving on to the last light novel, we have Monster Girl Doctor, coming out on the 19th by 7 Seas. That is a $15 volume, and this is going to be in your Monster Girl vein. If you like Monster Musume and all those other types of series in that same sort of vein, Centaur's Life, Kobayashi, you are probably going to like this. Then again, I can't necessarily say that for sure because this is a light novel as opposed to a manga. However, it is in that same vein of sort of series. But that will do it for the LNs and the novels. Time to move on to the art books. We have Castle in the Sky picture book. Castle in the Sky picture book coming out on the 5th. That is a hardcover art book of the Castle in the Sky film, and that is $20. It's an art book. I don't know what to say for these art books, so I'm probably just going to list these pretty quickly, sort of explain what they are, even though it's pretty self-explanatory. We have the Princess Mononoke picture book coming out on the 5th as well. That is another hardcover for $20 a volume. Both of these have been released, or will be released, by Viz Media. On the 6th, we have the Robotech Visual Archive, the Macross Saga art book for $45. That is released by Udon. Appears to just be an art book on the Macross series, or Robotech as it's known in the West. Vertical is releasing Cheese Sweet Coloring Book on the 19th, which is $10. It's a coloring book featuring Chi from Cheese Sweet Home, which is a manga series that they publish. Don't know what else to say about this, or say about that. And last up, I was debating whether or not to include this on the list because it doesn't fit with basically anything else. However, it was on Right Stuff's website, so I thought, why not? I'm going to include it. It is Embroidered Garden Flowers, coming out on the 5th for $22 by a publisher known as Shambhala. And it is just embroidery using garden flowers, and it's telling you how to do it. But doesn't really fit with anything else, but it was on Right Stuff's website, so I thought, why not include it? So here it is on the list. But that will do it for this month of What's for Sale. Let me know different things you think I should include in these videos. Let me know how this one compared to the previous one, because I feel like I went a lot faster in this one than I did the previous one. I'm not sure if that affected the quality or not, so please let me know how you are enjoying this series. Do you think I should go slower? Should I go faster? Just general critiques, comments, recommendations I can do for this series. I definitely want to include different things in the future. Yeah, just let me know how this series is going. Do you want to see more of it? How do you think I can improve the quality? And as I mentioned before, do you want to see anything in the background? And if so, what would you like to see in the background as opposed to just a black screen with covers? But yeah, if you found this video helpful, let me know by leaving a like, sharing, or leaving a comment down below. And if you would like to keep up to date with all of my content, you can hit that subscribe button. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I am Laethas. Goodbye.